what I have received in the past 2 hours, okay, it talks about most of these latest weapons, illegal weapons being shipped, being transported from Turkey, Operation Gladio, is actually going to Albania, okay? So my first initial thought, reaction, rightfully was, okay, so it's the Albanian mafias. So Turkey has been a hub for every shit that you can ever imagine. Narcotics, organ trafficking, child sex trafficking, illegal weapons trafficking, ISIS, terrorism. Turkey has been the hub, okay? And this is not something that I'm alleging. This is something that has been established as a fact for years and years. So initially I thought, okay, some of these are ending up in Albania in the hands of, maybe they want. But then I'm thinking, I mean, Albania already has its own deal with NATO and the United States. Why would they be getting the weapons from these illegal weapons from Turkey? And this is what I was told, that now with these protests in Albania going for its day 75, 76, it has started becoming bothersome, okay? People bothersome for NATO, especially for Trump, especially for Jared Kushner and Israel. Because as I reported in November and December 2025, you can go Google it and find it in all the pamphletti. Many thanks to Pamphletti for publishing all my articles and investigative reports. With these plan to acquire, which they have, Sazan Islands, 1/3 of Sazan Island was going to be, and I refer to it as Satan Island per Epstein's, and I have it all covered in terms of child sex trafficking, all that. But that 1/3 of Sazan Islands with the already built bunkers since World War II was to become, and it still is in the plans, a base, a formal official base for Israel, military with their intelligence radar. 1/3 of, think about it, 1/3 of Sazan Island with this Jared Kushner project was to be and is to be an Israeli base in that area, that sea, okay? And across from it, they helped finance building this airport, new airport in Albania, to make the entire thing complete, because the shipments of cocaine from South America, okay, with the ports in Brazil under the control of Albanian mafia, Jared Kushner, and Israelis, okay? And with Israeli base there, you can just look at the map and see how Israel has been moving upwards with the trilateral agreement that it made with Cyprus and Greece, both Greece being under enormous economic and financial pressure, taking advantage of it because they're buying. They're buying islands, they're buying lands in Greece. That's a different topic for a different time. And of course, Albania. Talk about the greater Israel project. People were thinking, oh, it was going to end with Turkey and a greater Kurdistan. No, they have been Israel moving up the Mediterranean, okay, the neck from Mediterranean neck through Cyprus into Greece and Albania, and large presence also in Montenegro. So NATO, the United States, Jared Kushner, Israel, they are saying this is getting to be too much. The protests continuing now and this whole screaming and the world's attention on now Albania. They were not when we were paying attention in November, December 2025, but now the entire world is watching. This is turning into a fiasco. So with these gun shipments, they are also using Turkey by having Turkey send some of their Albanian Turkish operatives, who are also part of this whole cocaine Albanian Turkish mafia thing, into Albania, because this is recent, this is new. They are planning a synthetic terror operations. They need to make these Albanian protesters look bad, lose credibility. People, this is the Operation Gladio since its inception modus operandi. during its initial stage, right after the World War II, okay, until the fall of the Soviet Union, it was doing things and blaming on the communists and the communist sympathizer, okay? Oh, Bologna train station bombing. Remember that terror, right? Blame it on the communism, like the Red Scare, right? So people would say, "Oh, this is what the big bad evil Soviet Union and communists do." People in Europe. Well, with the fall of the Soviet Union, they created the new enemy. Welcome Al Qaeda, okay? 9/11, ISIS, right? They had to replace the communism, the Soviet Union with the new enemy. I mean, it's a matter of life and death when it comes to the weapons producing mega companies, be it Lockheed Martin, be it every single one of them, okay? Now, these protests in Albania, initially they kind of shrugged it off. Then they said, okay, people are going to get tired in Albania and they were going to stop and they're going to give up. Well, that has not materialized. It did not take place. And now, with the world's attention on Albania, people, the reason I'm doing this late at night, last minute, per two reliable sources in Bulgaria, they are funneling operatives, terrorists, guns into Albania. What does this tell me? What does this tell me? This tells me that they are going to, it's very, very likely, per my sources, that they are going to synthetically create that event where some certain Albanian protesters are going to look responsible for loss of life, for terrorism, for using guns. People, think about it. When you have such crowds, such as the Albanian protests, when you have 500,000 people on the streets, the entire population of Albania is 2.5 million, 2.6 million. 500,000 people been on the street. That's a lot of people. It's not a big country, okay? And when you have that congestion of 500,000 people on the streets, you won't be able to tell who fired what, who caused shooting what, and which would then snowball and escalate into loss of life that would be blamed on Albanian protesters. These are the amazing people who have been the example of resistance. Okay, before them, I have to give them credit. Serbians did it. Serbians kicked out Israel and Jared Kushner with their projects, despite their government being corrupt. Albanians have been doing it for 75 plus days, and NATO, Israel, USA, they have said enough is enough. Well, they're not going to directly do this. They are using their dirty partner, their proxy, narco state, criminal state, Turkey's government. Okay, this would be dictator Erdogan's government. Erdogan is the biggest supporter, one of the biggest supporters of Edi Rama, okay, and his Albanian mafia government, okay. Edi Rama and Erdogan, which Erdogan currently, he is really not making any decisions. He's not calling the shots. The Turkey's President Erdogan is now at the stage 2 Alzheimer's stage, okay? And this has been leaked by multiple sources, including US diplomatic sources in Turkey. Okay, we're talking about some of the US consulates. He's not here. Everything is being ran by Hakan Fidan, Erdogan government's foreign minister, okay? And Hakan Fidan, until 2016, was the head of MIT. MIT is the CIA of Turkey, okay? The National Intelligence of Turkey is the national and international agency of Turkey, okay, for intelligence, okay? Think about the head of the CIA becoming a foreign minister. That's who Hakan Fidan is. Also, Turkey has been not on the verge of bankruptcy. Turkey has been bankrupted, okay? They are trying to hide it from the people. The treasury, everything is empty. Turkey has no money left. It's a country that is bankrupted, okay? In the last few weeks, Turkey has been selling anything and everything it can, okay? From its national interest, from its people's interest, from its soil, data center to Palantir, Peter Thiel's, okay? They sold the acres and acres of in the middle of city land to Peter Thiel's Palantir via an intermediary country, the United Arab Emirates. They are desperate. They are desperate. They are desperate and they're doing everything. Terrorism, narcotics, anything, anything Trump and Israel is asking them to do. So naturally, it is Turkey that is sending the gun, sending the operative, because Eddie Rama is Erdogan government's partner number one, with like big one is being Turkey is at the point of desperation. Okay, and they would at this point they would say yes to any order as long as there is some money attached to it. My the reason I'm preparing this breaking news, I'm almost brain dead, people. I've been working on my other news projects, ongoing reports since 8 o'clock this morning. I have already recorded 2 videos. I'm losing my voice. I don't want to lose time. I don't want Albania to lose time. I don't know what I can tell Albania specifically to do other than be extremely vigilant. And I am sure there are insiders in Albania who are maybe covertly pro-people, pro-protesters, okay? Okay, and I'm appealing to them, okay? You know that these weapons from Turkey via Turkish operative and transportations are coming to Albania, and you know the reason. You know that they want to create a synthetic terrorism event and make the Albanian protesters look bad and justify Eddie Rama really clamping down, because by being part of the EU and NATO and the European position, Eddie Rama has his hands have been kind of tied in terms of using the force that dictator Erdogan is able to do in Turkey. So if they make this caused by the Albanian protesters, that would justify the Albanian mafia, okay, Eddie Rama to come down hard on these protesters, jail them, and make it look like it was justified. Turkey is the middle country. Turkey is the Operation Gladio proxy. Please, if you haven't already, check out my other video, just came out 2-3 hours ago, and look at the news, okay? American news, they're not covering it. There are a few very reliable investigative journalists in Europe, smaller publications that have been putting it out. The recent interception of these guns being transported, shipped by Turkey to several countries in Europe, and transit point is Bulgaria. People, my sources are solid in Bulgaria. They are telling me that in the past few weeks, okay, in the past few weeks, this was one of the few, this shipment that was intercepted. These guns are they're being part of these guns, shipments, illegal guns, illegal weapons are being taken into Albania. They have plans. This is the Operation Gladio plans. They want to create synthetically the incident or the incidents, violence via guns, weapons, maybe bombs, in order to blame it on the protesters so that they can justify Eddie Rama killing, jailing some of these Albanian protesters and end this for who? Not for Albania, for Jared Kushner, for Israel, for the global cocaine trade, okay, for the Epstein's coalition.